Hello and welcome as it is the end of the 14th day of June 2019. My last video is almost done. Goat in action. Greatest of all time. If I'm not again at what I do, well, then, well, you're amazing. However, technically speaking, everyone's the greatest. They're the best in the world at what they do. Because you're the only one that does exactly what you do. Anyway. All bets, trades of the like, well, that's within each his own risk and their own reward. Going to cover some stuff that I didn't mention before, stuff that I forgot to, and just different stuff like that. Talk about exchanges, in particular Poloniex and Huobi, but all of them in general. And yeah, Bitcoin Cash, DGB will be the start, Go Chain after that. So, BCH against Bitcoin. This level of resistance has been a magnificently large one, and to say that a break above that would be an extreme move, most likely, would be an understatement. But the last time it left that area was that on the day of June the 5th, so it's now been 9 days since it reached there. It came close yesterday, but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades was a saying back in the 1980s. Don't know if that's a saying today or not, but whatever the case, it was close and not quite. And now price action back down towards this 18 average of lows in here. And at the same time, even though it's showing a little bit of weakness in this lower area, it's holding the upper end of the support range, with the lower end of the support range being in the area around the 444 handle. And yeah, we'll just keep on waiting and seeing. But now that I'm talking about this, I'm talking about now exchanges because I'm pulling, and I don't like to have funds on there. When it's time for me to make a trade, like a ratio trade, say Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin, I'm going to send the one that needs to be sent to sell to the exchange. So I have to wait for the time to move on the blockchain. Litecoin maybe 10 minutes. Bitcoin Cash, I haven't deposited Bitcoin Cash to Huobi yet, but it can take a while. Like a lot of transactions on places like Binance and Bittrex, even on Poloniex, I think it's 11 or 12. So you can wait an hour maybe. But either way, you send the funds to the exchange. Once they're ready to sell, I sell them for Bitcoin. Then I buy the other coin with it, say Litecoin in this example. And then I have it. Then I withdraw it off the exchange and into the wallet, and it's done. So I enter before I make my deposit. My balance on the exchange should be very well near zero, maybe like 10 or 50 or 100 Satoshi Bitcoin or something small. And then when I leave, it'll be the same thing, just a different small number when I leave based on the Bitcoin trade transaction. However, if you look at fees to withdraw Bitcoin Cash off of exchanges like Bittrex, Binance, or Poloniex, and I don't know about the others, but on those three, it is 0.001. And I'm going to now move this to the dollar value. And it's the same time frame. It's a different chart. I love how it's showing its setup on the 18 highs, but at 0.001, that means that would be 41 cents, 42 cents to withdraw Bitcoin Cash off of an exchange. I consider that a fair price. Not too low, not too high. I mean, yeah, you can take coins off that are micro pennies, 1/4 or 1/2 of a penny. Maybe some are like a penny or 4 pennies, 7 cents, 10. Those are low. And 10 cents is a higher end of a low price. And then Bitcoin transactions at 50,000 Satoshi, well, 10,000 would be $5. And that's an expensive variable right there. And that big reason why I don't like to trade Bitcoin on exchanges for that purpose there alone. Other than the fact that ratio trades have increased volatility. Meaning, if say coin A has 100 times, it has a big move against Bitcoin, and coin B has about 90, well, coin A and B together might have 130 or 140. But on Binance or on Huobi, Huobi, it is 0.0001 to withdraw coins off of the exchange, or 10 times less. So instead of like 42 cents, it's about 4.2 cents Okay, that's interesting. And the only coins right now, the only ratios I'm trading on Poloniex right now is DGB in Litecoin and Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. Because on Bittrex, it's an expensive Litecoin withdrawal, so I don't like to deal with Litecoin trades there. And I don't like trading the Litecoin market on Bittrex either. But on Huobi, I can do all those trades there, so I won't even need to use Poloniex anymore. And what happened was, I forgot, I traded with Huobi when I first got into Theta back in the early stages of 2018. I traded Huobi on there. I swing traded back and forth for maybe a few weeks, and then I exited it on profit. And I just recently, a couple, 3, 4 days ago, went back to the site. I did the forgot password thing, reset my password, then I set up my phone for it. I deposited about a small amount of DGB, maybe like $7 worth, $8 worth, $10, I don't know, something tiny, and or $12, I don't know. Not important. Just knowing important knowing is that it was small. Then I bought Bitcoin Cash with it. I went to withdraw and they said, "Oh, a 24-hour wait for you to withdraw based on the changes and everything." Okay, that's fine. So I waited about 28 hours later. I withdrew my Bitcoin Cash. After all, it was only about 4 cents to withdraw it, and it worked. Okay, sweet. So with exchanges, with Cryptopia having its fall, we had Quadra CX, the Canadian one, I think. It's had problems with Mt. Gox way back in the past. It's a scary situation holding funds on there, but within this here, if something happens with the exchange and you have your coins on your wallet and they go down, well, hopefully you have little to no funds on that exchange. Okay, so Bitcoin Cash here, let's just take a look at this on the 4-hour term time frame. And of course, my reaction like that. That's a bullish setup if you couldn't tell by my reaction. As well, this is the first time that I'm looking at this. Okay, take a photo. You're making a textbook. You want to draw out setups to teach people. Oh, go freaking long on this is the I mean, all bets trades, all that type of shit. You know what I'm talking about, but okay. Well, you have that level of resistance which supported it well and very well within the 18. Resistance established in here at 4 1/4. And how it has left this, we have 1 hour and 14 minutes left. So it's even, that's why I like to have the time left on there. So I can see it's had a very large span of this. It's about close to 70% of its duration has already been done. So it's pausing its move. Okay, let's look at this more clearly on the one, because we're going to see more towards this high, this correctionary move. This line will come back in place. And I'm just going to reduce this line just, it doesn't really matter. It's all in that general area anyway. All right. Oh my goodness, this is just fantastic setup. And maybe it might have, and I'm not too concerned if it comes down to like 410, 409 in here. But a little bit of a failed breakdown sell-off at the 12 o'clock hour today. As it comes up towards the 18 average, it hits it originally at 14 hours or 2 periods later. It pauses it, and then it breaks above the lows to get into the band. The next period, it gets all the way to the highs, breaking above it. We can see a little bit of a pullback. So this is something I can do here. I'm going to put another line right here at this 18 average of highs for the purposes, because I'm going to shorten this out to the 15 5-minute time frame. So I want to see when it leaves this area how this pullback came in, because I can see that there was one, because in this hour the high was 415 and the close and change, and the close was $3 lower than that. So I know it came down at least that amount. And of course it lifted off, came back down again. And we can even see furthermore. I'm going to put another line in because I can see short term that this is an interesting spot in here. Because on this 1800-hour period, we had the same thing as we did before, just a nice little line above this, which means intra-period. It had a somewhat of a correction, but we can see that this period comes back down to this line. This period we're currently on, 12 minutes left, so it's pretty deep and almost finished in the hour, 80% completed. A little bit of a pullback. It's barely gotten above this high. And it's at the stage now where, okay, we could have a pullback bit to the 18, these are the levels, but it's been live for a while, ready to go to break this resistance. It hasn't done it yet. And let's take a look clearly so we can see better for short-term analysis by doing such. So first with this line in here, we can see that hits this resistance and it comes back in the very next period, right down to this key. This is where the 18 average of highs was on the daily. So when it got up to it, it left it, come back the next period of low, lifted off from there, had another move back to it, and then big move in here. And as we can see that the pullback in here, let's even look at the 5 to see more toward this upper line. And twice hit here before it got above it, so it established it at that point there. This 1805 5-minute session has a nice little established breakout, getting above nicely above the highs, coming back to where it came from. Multiple hit, up, multiple hit, up, and nice little ascending triangle, but does not break out to the upside. And a lot of continuation has been going on. Choppiness really more than anything, but it's been doing this right now with higher lows. As we can see that there is 1, 2, 3. Now we're on the fourth situation where it is supporting within this 18 average. If this gives in all of this empty space, that's not a big concern to me if it breaks down and we start to test again between 410, 414. But every single time you get above the 18 average, it's an attempt. And not every attempt, of course, is going to work. As we can see, that this was barely an attempt. This was a very decent attempt, didn't work. This most certainly was a very good attempt, and it didn't work. And therefore, if it does it in here, it'll be attempting to do it. And on that breakout, again, this is some serious stuff as we were showing on the daily term. And when you have support in an uptrend like this, that's just another reason to state if you're going to break this trend, that it definitely could be topish action. But at the same point, as we were looking at this, I'm going to remove these lines. When we look back at again stuff like the hourly term time frame, there's nothing wrong with going to having a point A high, this point B low area, coming back to the previous level of point A, and then retracing to where you came from A and B, which is right in here. Okay, that's it with DGB. Or no, that's it with this. Moving on to DGB. And on Huobi, DGB, it's a bit better of a trade area because they actually have an extra decimal point. And I should be able to show it on here, actually. Single hour term time frame. Day trading purposes here. If you're in a downtrend, you're looking for situations of reversals. You just want to wait for bullish setups to appear because all we have been getting is bearishness. As we can see, if you're trading the single hour term time frame, down, 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 of course. And what we're looking for, especially here, is for stage number 4. None of this action of whatever until we get it kind of deal. And when's the last time we've had a stage 4 on here? Okay. I clicked on the ad by mistake. Didn't get me for that. I don't know if they got paid for that. If they did, they got something. So from the decline, there was a stage. Maybe you can count this as stage 2 come back, but it didn't break this resistance. So therefore, as we play this now, what we're looking at is this level of established resistance. I would like to see a little bit deeper of a price correction within the 18 where it came from, like 144. I'd like to see it come down a couple basis points. Or I would like to see this strengthen 149. One more, and you know what, here we are. That's even enough. Now it's come down to the 18 average of highs. So, stage number 1, flatten. Stage number 2, establish. Stage number 3, come back to the bed. If we can see a clear break, I'd like to see something, and this is where it gets difficult for a market like this. I'd like to see like 151 to 152, and again, this is where Huobi might be a better way to look at it, so let's just change it right now, because they have an extra decimal point. And Let's just see what the volume looks like on the hour on here, if it's even going to load. Wow, it's a lot different. 20 DGB, what? 206. Um, Price is 145. Let me go to Huobi's site itself. Okay, I'm on the exchange, and let's find DGB on here. Where's my search bar? Right here. This doesn't make any sense. DGB. $206. How is this a different price? It's been like this for a while. I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'm confused as anything because I'm sure I deposited DGB. I know I bought Bitcoin Cash and withdrew that, but I'm confused about this price. 5D. That's for 5 of them. I gotcha. Okay. Oh. So what I did is I copied that number. I'm going to push Shift Insert in here. 2, 3. So that's 5 zeros, which is 200 Satoshi. I'm now confused again. I have no. I'm sorry. This is like this like pause whatever shock here. And what's going on with all these Pierces too? Holy shit! This is something else. It's almost worth having coins. And this is where you want to have orders in for shit like this. And I know I shouldn't be saying whatever. Who cares? I mean, these are some superior moves. But why is the price say 206? I've never seen anything like this before. This is HGB, Huobi Global. Oh. I'll have to take a look at this more later. I'm just going to go back, but nothing wrong with putting $7 in just to play around and see what happens. But it says Gigabyte DGB. I mean, wouldn't I just sell everything here and buy at the other site on a huge arbitrage? But that doesn't make sense because it just... Oh, man. I mean, here, 206, we got 147. So much different. Let's finish this off with GoChain. And we'll see if anything else is live here. Okay, nothing's pumping. Nothing's really dumping. This one is frustrating. Oh, failed breakout. Thank you. I'm kidding. I mean, even here it looks like a failed breakout. This isn't the one I'm even talking about, although the one I'm looking at is very similar to it. I'm talking about this failed breakout here. But while we're at it, I'll talk about this one, then go to what I was planning on talking about. Okay, this is a scary situation here. This is looking like another leg lower could very easily come into fruition here. Definitely high cautionary signs is how I read this. But, I mean, a big move, one way or another, as I see it. Where I put this line is a big level of resistance, and this period, which is the hour, 1 minute 55 seconds left, is pulling back into the band. It's kind of down more than it should be. But it appears below that's what it could be. That's why it could be wildcard either way. It's already made the statement that it wants to try to fill some of this empty space in here, come up to the high 200s into 3. And within this move breaking higher. And the 18 average of lows in all this is going to be very, very big. But when you make a statement like this and you use the energy and you fail, if I start to see any type of weakness amongst this level in here, then we're probably going to be looking for something on a lower price scale, which we're going to take a look at more within the more longer term time frame. All right then, so it was this move last night, and I'll show it more clearly on the single hour, but I'm just going to quickly go through the 4 in here. As we can see in here that this level of support got breached today. And did it come down to this previous level? Yes, it did. So any rally attempts, as I mentioned, for that short term, again, that's where I'd be seeing the 2 high 90s in here. And yeah, that's the which time for did we come off the hour? Yeah. So on the so let's go back to last night. Right in here, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, man, you know what? I should probably sell some go. And it's mathematics because if I were to trade now, what it is a small gain, and I'm thinking, okay, this is the options. One, it works, and this price action when I wake up in the morning is going to be over 330 or wherever else, and I'll get a much better ratio trade. And if I would have sold now, all of this gain would have been easy buybacks, like, to no degrees. But I didn't. I woke up, and then I woke up to well, this in here. I woke up. I was up at 8:45 in the morning. 8:40. Yeah, and I didn't turn my computer on until 9. So I was already seeing this at that time. I'm like, oh shit, that sucks. But that's how you play the game. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And if you get 50 ratio trades, you do well. If you do 30, not as well. 70, you do better. So in some of that, you're going to miss some of them here and there. And of course, the more volatile ones you get. 4. If I were to have, say, sold last night here, and then the price did wake up and it was up here, then I would sell maybe again here, and I'd have an average sale in here. And if I didn't sell, well, my full price would be a better one, of course, at that level. Now, in the daily term, this is something like, ooh, this could be a really interesting situation. But this is why I like ratio trade, as far as you know what you got in. And if things go down, things go down. So your value happens to go down in dollars and Bitcoin. That's just how the world is, because you're looking for the opposite in the game, and that's how it usually works. And this could easily break down because you have point A high, point B low. All of this sideways correction. And we just might be continuing more of it. After all, one thing that could happen, that's due to happen on a sideways move, is we had this level of support that has been broken. One thing is just maybe just congesting in this area for a little bit. Of course, maybe a small pierce below as well. But if it ends up breaking down below this established support, it's into uncharted territories, and maybe we'd be looking at going to like 170, 160, 150 in whatever area. But the way I look at it is, well, I'll just end up accumulating these coins by selling all the other ones, because I'll be focusing on what the other coins are divided by this one, and then all those ratios would go higher. Maybe something is a 150 to 1 against Go. Well, now that this goes down, it might go to 220, 230. So I'm playing that ratio trade, and I'm selling what I've already purchased already. So something like, well, let me just go to my thing in here. I got like Sky, Litecoin, Theta, These are just ways of liquidating those out. And if it works out, that is what I would really like to see happen, is for something like that to take place. I mean, it doesn't happen too often, but it still does, where you get a decent sized down move here, and then the other coins go down, up, even sideways is more realistic, and then I accumulate them, and next thing you know, after that, oh, markets go up, markets go down, just like when you're buying down here. Oh, all this happens. So maybe it goes down here, then it has a move even up to here, let alone even a move back to here. I've accumulated more. Now it goes up, so the ratio of something that was, say, 75 to 1 went to, say, 130, and then it's going to go back to, say, 91. So during this run, I would accumulate the coin, and then on the way down, I would distribute it back, and of course, make little bits of gains on the better prices as I keep trading. Now let's move on to theta, which is on the daily term time frame, and amongst this, lots of volatility. Like I said this over and over, big moves go from 5,000 down to 11 and change up to 19 high, or 1900 we'll say. It's actually technically 19 low. And then what we've had recently. This is a failed breakout attempt that's going down, failed move, fast move. And so be it. I mean, I'm not. A lot of people lose on this because they go long here. And I was part of it within one of my trades as well, which I'll get into after that as my next subject. But as far as the normal stuff, markets go down, then I'm just going to let the ratios work in, because there was a lot of strength in here, but it really had to make a move above here. It didn't even have to do that. And when I say, oh, it's fine for it to go down a little bit, but I mean, you really need to see it hold in this area, 18 lows. And then this session in here, ooh, well, I mean, you got to think of it in the sense of, well, this was a Bitcoin dominance day. And looking at the entire morning, from all day up until like 6 o'clock or 5 or 7 or whatever, sometime earlier today, altcoins were getting their asses kicked. Oh, look at for the day, Bitcoin was up 2-3%, and every other coin down 4, 5, 7 against the dollar. Even more, like a couple more percentage against that of Bitcoin as well, which of course in here down 8%. Well, Bitcoin was up like 4 for the day, so it was down like 4% or so against the dollar. But regardless of the situation, if it happens to be a bottom here, great. It's going to go up. That's awesome. If it goes down, I'm confident that this is going to be a good coin in the future. If I'm wrong, well, then I'll take a little bit of a noticeable hit, but risk reward management and the cryptos in itself, the entire crypto space, is that of a big risk. But I'm very confident in this, and I think it's going to work out very well, so that I realize if there's going to be price reductions, well, that's just part of the game. I don't. If it happens to make new lows, say if it goes down and goes like 800 even, well, then I would be very confident that it's still going to have a decent size move up going forward, and markets go up, markets go down. All that stuff is going to come into play. As far as a little bit of shorter term analysis with it, there's your attempt in breaking out. It's showing a lot of, like, for only a few periods, but 3 or 4. And now it's just been consistently down. What type of stoppages or like little bit of breaks of down momentum has there been? 4 here, not much. Couple periods here shy of hitting the band. And even now we're doing 3. We're still shy of hitting this band. At some point, it's going to hit the 18 lows, it's going to hit the highs, it's going to get above it, but this downtrend yet may not be over. On the single hour term time frame, what do we see for possible correctionary moves? Well, this one in here, of course, but didn't do much. There's the new low, gets up to the high, spends a bit of time, breaks it, new low. Now we hit this high, successfully supporting on the way down on this move to this previous level, back to previous or 18 high again. So it's been enough for this 18 average to flatten out. Where do we see a support? 1478 ballpark area. Huge, huge support. I need to see situations of well, right now we're only at stage one. It isn't even establishing stage two. I would want to see at least a test of previous high. So to me, established resistance would have to be in the area of around 1540, in that ballpark area for this time frame. But I'd just like to see some sort of setup where maybe it's about to come up towards here, maybe come back, do something, and then do something like this. And then two different methods. Maybe you see it breaking out here, but more importantly, you see price action getting out above any type of established resistance. And it's just a waiting game if you're looking for these situations, because you're saying the same thing back in here. Okay, well, the band's flat. I need to see it come up in here. And then, oh, okay, well, and then it changes. And if a new low comes in, say if it comes down towards here, if it breaks down, and then you'd be seeing the same thing. You just let the adjust to the message of the market as you continue on through. Alrighty, thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.